My Russian dolls. At first, I had one, then another, then another. They all just came to me at different times. Naive, I held on to them as tightly as I could, squashing them against my chest, all mine. Over time, a few disappeared, some fell apart, and others had nothing inside. They had glossy smiles and bright curves. I could barely look away, while my haunted mind wondered, could they all be as beautiful inside? How many dolls were there? Were they hollow? Would the last tiny one be mesmerizing, or... My hands were too busy holding them together, close to me and close for the world not to see. What if I dropped them, or opened an empty one? Maybe they were no good to me. Not like this. I had to take the time, twist one open, look inside. The red one squeaked as I turned, goosebumps, and I saw another one within, refined. It took longer than expected. I struggled. I still had to dust all others from time to time, but the smallest one was a speck of gold. Welcome to the Memento Mori Lab podcast. I'm Myra, your host and aspiring writer friend. The poem you heard is called My Russian Dolls. I wrote this one with a specific metaphor in mind related to those dolls, but rereading it makes me think that many metaphors could fit. And to me, interpretation is a massive part of poetry and art in general. Regardless of what the artist intended, we all see different things, we have different contexts, so obviously interpretations always vary. So do not take mine as set in stone just because I wrote the thing. In this piece, to me, the Russian dolls represent my ideas. I find myself constantly overwhelmed by ideas of things to do, texts to write, drawings to attempt, stuff to create. Last year, I think, around November, I got the idea of making t-shirts with some of my doodles and some designs. With that method of ironing the stencil onto the shirt, I even bought a freaking iron because I don't iron my clothes, so I don't have one. So I bought one specifically to do the t-shirts last year, and the iron is still in the box. I have ideas written on Trello boards, iPhone notes, Evernote notes, written notes on colored index cards, and scribbles on all of my notebooks. Some are just random words that at some point made sense to me and were probably something great. It gives me so much anxiety just thinking about all these ideas that I'll never get around to, or that I am wasting somehow, or that I've already lost along the way. What I fail to remember, blinded by my ego, is that most of these ideas are far from great. In fact, most of them should be discarded. But, like in the poem, if I don't explore them and if I don't open the Russian dolls, I never get to the specks of gold. On the other hand, if I don't explore them, I won't find out that they suck. So when I keep my ideas in my digital or metaphorical drawers, gathering dust, they remain possibilities of greatness. And my brain likes that a lot. I can only speak for myself, but I think this is something many writers and creative minds can relate to. I've noticed that subconsciously I will always choose the pleasure of possibilities over the pain of potential failure. So I would rather have all these ideas and work on each of them for a little while instead of truly investing my time and effort in one idea, going all the way. Some people say it's the shiny object syndrome or something like that. Apart from not wanting to invest the time in one thing with the fear of failure or fear of missing out on other things, I see another layer to this. Working on ideas without going all the way means I get to show it to other people and protect myself from criticism by saying it's just a draft. It's just an idea. After so many years of living this way, I now realize that the so-called pleasure of possibilities comes at a price. the high, outrageous price of regret. After so many years of living this way, I now realize that the so-called pleasure of possibilities comes at a price. The high, outrageous price of regret. And I can no longer afford it. I don't want to. And the worst thing about regrets is they eat you up inside over time. As the years go by, they get more painful and suddenly the wave hits us. We've wasted our lives. All the work we did to avoid pain was for nothing. Like a dormant volcano. The pain was always there. But we can't go back in time, can we? Oh God, what an uplifting podcast, isn't it? Okay, but here are some good news, though. It's cliche, but it's never too late to do something about it. Cliches are a thing because they are often right, so believe it. It's never too late. The ideas we were too scared to act upon can still come to life. Some might need to be adapted depending on how much time has passed, sure, but there's always a way in a world where it can exist. But still, what can we do about all these overwhelming ideas? Well, I don't think I've found the solution yet. And if that was your expectation here, I am so sorry to disappoint. I am still on the hunt. All I have are bits and pieces glued together here and there, a patchwork of thoughts and strategies that I'm hoping will help me improve and hopefully do the same for you. The first thing that I know I need to do is start gathering all these ideas in one place. Not 7 different apps and notebooks, but one. As much as I know I need this, I also know it's probably not gonna happen. So I try to think about the second best thing that I could do that would be more manageable to me, which is every other day I can go through my scattered ideas and I can choose the most interesting ones and put those ones in one basket. For example, my Trello board, which I decided to use as the one place to bring the ideas together. That is much more manageable to me. It also helps me create a process to sort of start screening the ideas and not just gather all ideas. Because I still think it's important to write down all ideas, but then I can sort of select the ones that makes more sense to me or the ones that I feel like have more potential. Another thing to do about these overwhelming ideas is that I need to constantly remind myself that I'm not in a race. The ideas will stay on my shelf until I'm ready to pick them up. If I lose some along the way, that's okay. More will come. This is my creative journey. Even if I pick the wrong idea to work on and the end result is far from gold, I will be fine. I'll learn from it, go back to the shelf and pick up another Russian doll. With more practice on executing ideas, I think I'll also get better at discerning ideas that have potential from the ones that were just hollow. Opening every last doll of the idea, or in other words, taking a project all the way, is something many artists struggle with. I know I do. So let's practice finishing things. But maybe don't start with a novel though, you know. By the way, the tendency is to get more and more ideas the more we write them down. So the pile will grow taller. Or maybe that's just me, I don't know. It seems to me the more we are aware of what's going on in our heads, the more we pay attention when ideas come in. You know, like when you want to buy a certain car or something, and all of a sudden it feels like all you see on the streets is that same car, like everyone has it, but you never saw it before. To me, ideas sort of work the same way. The more I write them down and show my brain that I'm interested in them, it seems that more and more ideas come in. A while back, I started writing my dreams. I would wake up in the middle of the night and just scribble down whatever I dreamt. And then I started dreaming so much that I had to just stop writing because it was not sustainable. Sorry, I went on a tangent here. My key point here is this. A large collection of Russian dolls or ideas can feel overwhelming at times, but a shift in perspective might show us that having tons of ideas is a good thing if we can get to work. We can mix and match them all to create our original work. We can put them on a shelf for later, discard the ones that aren't exciting, and most importantly, take some time to execute them. Let's bring our ideas to life. If the final product sucks, crack open the next doll. So what is the idea you're gonna work on next? Let me know on Instagram or Twitter. The handles are in the show notes. Plus, if you have an efficient way of organizing your ideas, please let's talk. Thanks for hanging around till the end. See ya.